Okay, I am live. Hello everyone. Happy Monday, May the 4th. Be with you, my friends. This is Fanny Menardi, and I am finally excited to present to you my Encyclopedia Volume 2, the disclosure book, that I just completed after being locked up for 2 months. My first encyclopedia took me 3 years to write, and this one I decided to just lock myself up and go back and gather everything that we've been working on. The first book was about symbolism, art, all my mentors, the scientific research, everything while I was painting. I was listening to conferences, I was educating myself on subject that had always passionated me, but I never really had time to just spend time on, go deeper on, because I was always working. I've traveled all around the world and I was working and traveling. Then I had a child. So it was really a great learning. And as I was learning things and be like, oh my God, this is so cool. I think if I think it's cool, other people are going to think it's cool. And indeed, they liked it. So a lot of people joined the network online and started working on this, global goals for sustainable development, but at the same time communicating through this parallel type of communications through arts and symbols and saying things. Actually, I'm going to read an extract of the book from the Universal One that explains really well. That explained really well the type of communication. Hold on, sorry. So I'm going to go live maybe every day for 5 minutes and introduce 5 or 10 pages of the book so I can introduce it at the same time. So 530 pages. I'm not preparing anything. It's here. I'm going with the flow, but mostly today I want to talk about resilience, solutions, and Democrats, because they are so annoying. They spend so much time criticizing, trying to block people from working. The Republicans, this little war between Democrats and Republicans. I think if they put as much energy trying to fight our common enemies like wars and pollution and the thing that affects all humanity, instead of trying to have their party in power, that would save everyone so much time. Like, I was seeing them criticize Secretary of State Marco Rubio because he's at a party, or the FBI director because he's drinking beer at the Olympics. Like, just because you become a government official doesn't mean that your life stops. Sometimes you have to disconnect, still be there for your family, still be a human to recharge. Nobody can work 24/7 and be fully recharged and efficient. You have to recharge and disconnect sometimes. So that just annoys me a lot, because I defended the Democrats, I voted for the Democrats, and I supported them when they were in power. I even wrote to Kamala Harris and told her exactly what she had to do to win the elections. They didn't listen. And now the Republicans are in power, and I'm working with them. Like, anybody who has the trust of the people and they are in power, they have the leverage to make things happen. They have access to the military, they have access to the funds, they have access to the legal framework. This is who we have to work with, and trying to give our perspective to improve the system and find solution. Honestly, the things I explain in the book, a lot of the reasons why the other perspective of the war between Ukraine and Russia, that they had this given speech, like the aggressive attack from the Russian to Ukraine and stuff like that, was actually, now with time, you realize it was just an excuse for NATO to start making money out of this weapon trafficking. Because first, they are saying that we have an obligation to help Ukraine. We don't. They are not part of NATO. And NATO has been promising Ukraine that they were going to become a part of NATO when the war is over, but they're not doing anything to stop the war. So these are still hanging promises that have not been fulfilled, and they all do that, just like the United Nations or the masterminds or all these people who make me do all this work for free and display, because I believe in free knowledge, that everybody should have access to the truth. Everybody should have access to knowledge. So I publish all my stuff for free, and at the same time, if I didn't, when I tried to sell my workshop, I didn't have enough exposure to have, a lot of subscriptions and live off my stuff. So I really had no choice. If I want to get known for my work, I have to offer a sample, and I have to offer it for free. And then I started doing that and publishing everything for free, and people love it, and they feed out of it. They feed off of it, and they spread out the content. Some people even took the exact same name of my workshops, exact same name of my books, publish it under their own name and make money from it. So at the beginning I was like, I'm honored, to have my contribution, and it makes me feel confident that my work is quality. But at the same time, it just teaches people to disrespect you and let you work for free and never give you reciprocity. So it's a double-sided sword, because you have to be resilient and accept to showcase a lot of your work and give as much as you can for free, and continue until it works for you and some people recognize it and say, now that's fucking enough, which a lot of people now did that. The US government, they saw that, and now they were kind of ordering me to write this book, gathering all the content to evidence all the work that we've been doing for so many years. And that I was kind of tying everybody together, bringing everybody together. But yeah, a lot of people take it like, oh, it's granted, she does all this for free. And it's very disrespectful, because I've lost my house. And, I love to connect with you every day online. I love it. Like, it's so cool, to have these debates, these conversations, discussions with high-level people, whether it's the Nobel Prize Committee, and learn from other Nobel Prize laureates, what did they do to become so successful or inspiring for the world, or to connect with government officials or super high intelligence, the CIA, the FBI, the journalists, the masterminds. It's super, super awesome to connect with all of these people. I do that every day. But it doesn't pay my bills. Like in the end of the story, I lost my home. I can't go visit my son. If I didn't have a kid, I'd be like, well, I'm good here. I can live like a 20 years old for the rest of my life. Live here in my parents' house for free and have a minimum wage job where it's cool. I work in a restaurant. I eat good food every day. It's just no responsibility life. But at some point, you have to know your worth and say it's unacceptable. I can't even take a flight to go and see my own kid if I want to. I have no money. I have debt. If I go back to the United States, I have all these debts waiting for me. And I'm 40 years old. When is it that I'm going to start the career, that I studied for and worked for? How many books am I going to write? Like, it's just unacceptable. Really, really unacceptable. So it's really hard. Like, I have this whole grudges and freaking hate inside of me that I just... I'm so angry. And at the same time, like, we have to understand that other people have things to take care of. I'm not the center of the world. Nobody is. And if I have a minimum comfort in life compared to some people who have nothing and they're at war, and I'm thinking about these people first. That's why I'm doing all this for free for these people who don't have that. And they're the victims of dictators, people who live in complete impunity, like assholes that are criminals, killed thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, and that are always walking around free. This is disgusting. So of course you can't live your whole life and saying, oh, I don't deserve it because some people have it worse than me. So if mostly when you feel like you're lucky and you have the network, you want to go for it, and you want to go and be a part of the decision, so you can go and help these people, and the people who supposedly are in your team, they're constantly blocking the way for you. It just doesn't create a harmony, and this is why there are wars, and this is why there are people who are getting pissed off and who go to war. So now let me tell you, when Russia went to war against the Western censorship and the corruption in Ukraine, the human trafficking, the weapon trafficking, all the stuff I've been talking about, that NATO completely ignores. Of course, they sell the weapons, they're making money from it, and then they give loans to Ukraine with, of course, interest rate. So Ukraine is doubly, I don't know if you say that, doubly screwed by NATO. Like, they buy weapons from them with the loan that they give them, paying interest on it. So that's just a huge scam that nobody's denouncing that. They just prefer to blame it all on Russia. But still, I know I have my part of responsibility that, they saw what happened, and I'm not the only woman. Like Russia, President Putin, he respects women a lot. And they saw, I feel like my story is very impactful because it's not just me. I'm the story of a lot of women. This is why I started my masterminds. When I started doing the paintings and writing and stuff, but I didn't think it would interest anyone, really, just maybe a few. But then I was on the phone with my friends that I met when I was with my husband, who is in the Navy, so Navy wives and stuff that I met all around the world in Bahrain. And I was on the phone with them, and they were telling me their story. Oh my God, I'm so unhappy. America, there's no culture. My husband is treating me really like shit and stuff. Or other mothers who ended up homeless because they didn't have opportunities. And the fact that they denied me opportunities, I couldn't help my friends who were asking me for help because I had more than them. So it was just a whole rippling effect that is just unacceptable. And this is why I kept going. And I kept going and talking about it because I was lucky enough that I had the comfort and the ability, the time to do that, while others didn't. So this is why it took me here, and also the network that pushed me to continue. Every time I tried to stop, they brought me back in to write about these things because it's super interesting. In the end, we're all looking for purpose and connection and meaning. We see so much information on social media, but when you find the true loyalty between the network and if I'm asking for something, it's gonna get done. If they're asking for something, I'm gonna do it. Like blind trust between the network. When you have people like this, then you do everything to keep it because it's really priceless. And with people like this, really, you can change the world. But it takes a long time to build trust. So anyways, I want to read 2 extracts of the book. So this is an extract from the Universal One. Okay. Right here, by Walter Russell. So, the physicist draws a sharp line between things which he can in some way detect by the evidence of his senses and things which lie beyond that evidence. There is no denial of a something beyond the range of his senses and his sensed instruments, but what may be there is conjectural and therefore inadmissible as scientific data of a reliable nature. In other words, material evidence which lies within the narrow limits of man's sense range is the only admissible evidence to science. But what about that vast range which will not respond to our sense body and sensed instruments? So of course, every time I read, I see different levels of understanding. And it was kind of saying that with that language, you can say things that are not normally admissible, politically correct, to say publicly, but that yet we do need to discuss. Is it okay to harass a genocide criminal on my Facebook page every day because I want to see him gone while he's killing hundreds and thousands of people every day? Of course it's hate speech, but they're allowed to do that But because we have to be politically correct and not display hate speech, then we have to shut up. You know, the laws, the frameworks, the legal frameworks that we've established to protect ourselves, at some point, they block us. So what I forgot to say earlier is that every time there was something, I did offer the solutions. Like after the Russia and the war and stuff, what did I do? I gave away my house. I said, okay, a lot of people lost their homes because they didn't want to, nobody wants to lose. I'm going to show that it's okay to lose, you know, to stop a conflict. I gave away my house for free. Okay, to my ex-husband. I was like, okay, I'm just going to withdraw from that so he can take care of it and give it to our son when he's older. So I did that. Then I did a whole research about the anti-gravity formula for the new generation spaceships. I created a whole Ministry of Sound plan for the Space Olympics 2030 that I submitted to the White House, the United Nations, to SpaceX, to everyone. So every time I've been from close or far involved or interested in some types of conflicts, I provided solutions. The other one, yes. So yeah, I don't remember. I had another example. I forgot. But yeah, every time you go and you offer solutions and they're just ignoring or they're not listening or they're just like the United Nations, I'm so mad at them. It's at the point I almost don't want to work with them anymore. Or if I do, then we're going to change things completely. You know, it's a whole mentality to change. And it's normal because you can't build a world for the new generations with the mindset that you had for your grandparents, okay? Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, it's the previous generations, they had a certain mindset that worked for their generation. But now, as there's more people, we need to have new mindsets. That's why we support each other, because we both have different perspectives on some of the things, it's okay to do that. It's okay to have different perspectives. But we also need to evolve. You know, if you think it's unacceptable the way they censor people, but you're doing the exact same thing, then there's no evolution. The goal is that we actually work together, not just stay on social media or someone pays me to do that. So I can at least travel and go see my kid. I want to read another extract. So this is the extract that I wrote for the conclusion of the book from one of my favorite books, The Power of Myth, from Joseph Campbell. So it's in French, but I will translate after. So he say, Eden is here. The kingdom of the Father is spreading all around the earth, but men do not see it. Eden is here, in this world of suffering, of violence and death. And Campbell says, yes, it exists. It is here. When they will see the kingdom of God spreading all around the earth, men will not live in the same way. It will be the end of the world. The end of the world is not a future event. It's a psychological transformation, a transformation of your vision. You do not see the material world, you see the world of light. And I really feel that this is what I wanted to do with the book. That once you see, you cannot look at the news the same way. You cannot look at all the information that's going on in the same way. You can really become part of a network, of a connection, and we all want the same thing. We all want the success. We have to understand that there's a lot of people who want the same thing, so we have to share those resources. We can't have it all, but we have to share the resources, but we always have to respect. We have to create this circular economy, this circular network where everyone benefits. You invest, I invest in you, you invest in this person, who invests in this person, and it gets back to you. Sometimes it's reciprocity, and sometimes you don't receive from where you give. But as long as you continue to support the network, eventually it's going to loop back. So resilience. Another thing, I was hearing some good comments and some bad comment, like, it's crazy how as long as you're in the shadow, a lot of people are happy with that to keep you there. But as long as you started having a little bit of support and gratitude and being in the light, in the spotlight and stuff, all of a sudden you have all these critics. They start sneaking dirt on you and stuff. This is why I post, all my stuff I posted on my book, all my fraud stories I posted, not to brag, because I'm not proud of being of frauding the banks. I'm sharing it because I want people to know what reality is for middle-class people who have to raise kids and work and pay for mortgage, like the minimum, wanting to have a home, a place to stay, something to legate to your kids. It's like the minimum. Otherwise, there is no point to work all your life. If you're not going to own anything, then just enjoy your life. Why are you working? So that's why I share all this stuff, because people are scared to share their stories, and in the end it's a reality that a lot of us are experiencing, and people don't know how to get out of it. It's really sad. Like, you have to fraud the bank, you have to go and all this crime and theft and stuff. This is because we have to solve the problem of the root. So that's why I'm so grateful for the government to listen to all the problems and trying to find new solutions, like Donald Trump when he created the accounts for the kids. This is amazing. This is after all I shared all the stories and how I wanted my kid to have something. Then they created that. So it does work. When I shared the stories about the immigrants, they made compromises and they started doing these paperworks for immigrants to expand their visas. So there is reciprocities. And that's crazy, because the Democrats, this is exactly what they wanted, to help the immigrants, and now they're blocking it. They're blocking when they're trying to compromise and expand the visas. Now they're blocking it just because Trump did it. Sorry, I need to drink. So the hypocrisy of the Democrats, it's crazy. It just bothers me a lot. It's already hard to make it there and to work hard every day. People risking your life at the FBI. They would take a bullet for you, and in the end they take all the insults every day. Okay. So what I wanted to say is that I didn't just come out of my cave with a book and yay, I want all the success. It's been 10 years of working for free. So who does that? Who would speak every day to a network online when you have 0 share, 0 like, 2 views on your videos, on your social media? It looks like ghost town, those pages, those rooms that are left vacant to all seeming, but are in fact the keys to the halls of Amenti, to all the network. Who would do that? Who would keep going when no one seems to be listening? For 10 years, no pay. The masterminds, they say they were going to publish my book. They asked me to write a book. They didn't publish my book. Forbidden Knowledge, they said they were going to publish my book. They didn't publish my book. The United Nations, I applied 25 times with the carrot promise of like being hired. I campaigned for them for the Nobel Peace Prize for 2 years. They didn't hire me. They all watched me lose my home. But did I go and attack them? Did I go and campaign against them and trying to prevent them from doing their work and stuff like that? No. I still support them. I'm still mature enough to say, listen, humanitarians, they're amazing people. They risk their life. They're on the ground every day. They they've been bombed in Israel, in Lebanon. They're bringing aid to all these poor people. They're wow, humanitarians. They're the best kind. They're angels on earth. So just because they didn't hire me or do something for me, I'm not gonna go around them and be like, rah, 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 yeah, these are worse people, these are, or the mastermind. I still kept on promoting them. I lost my house, It's not their responsibility after all. I am that was my choice to take all those risks. So I took the risk. And of course, there are the grudges. I say they know it. There's always been this part of grudges. But I still worked and promoted their work. I still kept going. I still tried to be the mature one, just to show the example and not go make people in the same team go at war with each other. And this is how you build trust. Because then other people see it. They're like, oh man, she's loyal. No matter what. Like literally, she's losing her castle, she's losing her kid, her 2 pets. And she's still loyal because she believes in the higher, in the collective goal. So this is why now I have people like the FBI, the CIA, the US government and stuff that support me. So before you go and criticize the successful people and just wonder, what do they have to do before they get there to be placed in those positions instead of criticizing? So, the good thing about my journey is that nobody can dig dirt on me because I posted it all myself. So all my nude pictures, they're online. All my fraud stories, they're online. My police record, you can check it. I don't care. I have videos about the story. So, it's like, it's just reality. Yeah. So whatever, guys. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this book. So let me turn the camera a little bit and show you some extracts of the book. Okay, so we are here. Okay, so here, gonna do one page. So I have put all these logos because this is the content that I've been using to make this book. Content from the Nobel Peace Prize, from the Department of State, the Department of War, the FBI, United Nations, White House, International Space Federation, Secret Services, UNESCO, the Masterminds, the Joint Chief of Staff, the CIA, NASA, SpaceX, and Skims, and PachaMamArt. These are all the people who contributed to this tribute to the 250 years of America. So I want to say a big thank you to Mr. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War of the United States, who has enormously contributed to the creation of the book with his beautiful speeches, beautiful prayers, all this intervention to help the world with Marco Rubio, of course, amazing Secretary of State, the Joint Chief of Staff, General Kane, the magician, they've put the resources to go and help the neighbors, which is so important because we receive those immigrants when they try to escape their country. They're escaping Afghanistan because school has been banned. The girls have been banned from school. In Iran, we see all the stories of the journalists or the women who are being beat up and jailed for no reason, just for exposing the truth about their country. Venezuela, there was no food, no job opportunities. In Cuba, prostitution. All these are testimonies that I showed from my students, and that we have to deal with the problem of the immigration, which bring, criminality and violence and poverty here. So it's very intelligent that they went to the source to solve the problem. So grateful. And this was a real collaboration, which I didn't know they were listening. When I was still posting this stuff for a year ago, when the Trump administration came in and I really voted against them, because I was so scared that they were going to hurt my students, my kids that are so cute, so amazing. And I know their families, some good people, but the good people are hiding. And all you see in the news is the story of the criminals. So I shared the stories, and I was scared. I got in trouble at work because I wasn't supposed to post pictures or video of the kids. I asked the kids if they were okay to do that. They agreed to it. But I was scared because it was risky to post things when some parents, they were telling me, no, we want to be hiding, we're scared and stuff. I was like, I know you're scared, but if you don't stand up for your story, and people will never know the reality of your community. So all they see is the bad people online. So sometimes you have to take the risk to defend your right. And we did that. And that's where I appreciate that the government, they listened, they protected us, and now they took action to solve the problem at the root. So that was an amazing collaboration that started. And then, yes, we started doing all these books. So he wrote, when I started writing the book, Pete Heck said this little speech right here. At the Department of War, we have a duty to ensure that our professional military education develops real leaders, war fighters who dominate into the future. We are committed to making our own senior service colleges maintain the highest of standards, that those places align with President Trump's commitment to American people, to our military, will remain the strongest in history. That is why I am directed the Undersecretary of War for Personnel and Readiness to establish a task force effective immediately. So this is when I started the book. I took it for me too. I was like, okay, so I'm going to write this book immediately as well. We are one, The mission of that task force is to evaluate our senior services colleges where we educate our own. Think about places like the Army War College or National Defense University, the Naval War College, Marine Corps University, or the Air War College, where our seniors go to continue their education. And since the beginning, this was amazing because since the beginning, I've been trying to work with the Naval Postgraduate School as well. So it's exactly what he's saying there. The mission of the book, to educate our intelligence, our high-level officials, or influencers, and all the people who have this leverage of influence to learn that language. So you could have access to the truth. And when you really look, I don't have access to CIA or classified documents. I never have. But they tell you everything, actually. When you really listen, they want to restore trust in institution. If you can read a little bit between the lines and tune in and make the effort also to look for the information, they tell you a lot of the things. Like the people who were complaining, they're not releasing the Epstein file. Actually, they are. Like, it's not the CIA who's going to post a PDF with the Epstein files, but they are being leaked all around the internet. So they are doing it. It's just sometimes people expect things to be coming a certain way, black on white on the newspaper, but in fact, it's out there. The truth is out there, We are going to ensure that the professors, administrators, and curriculum of those institutions are focused on national security, strategy, history, and overall excellence. Confirm that high standards and meritocracy are forefront, and make sure that we have seen in our civilian institutions never surface in our military education institutions. We want military leaders that are critical thinkers, that have studied the principle on which our founding fathers established this republic, that they are educated and prepared to win wars. Our warfighters deserve training with integrity, with a focus on a warrior ethos, on deterrence, and on strength. as the Secretary of War, this is my job to make sure that those who are rising to the highest of ranks are as prepared as humanly possible. And if we are pulling civilian officers out of universities because they are too woke, then we better make sure that our own universities are prepared to do the task properly. And we are going to do that. I look forward to this task force report. So here is your task force report. And this is really the one thing that has been unifying everyone: the Democrats, the Republicans, the Americans, the Russians, the Europeans, the president, the people, the teachers, this art and willingness to contribute. If you want to contribute, you're welcome. Welcome. So that was really interesting. Like, I'm so excited about this book. I love that. I love to connect with you guys every day. I'm so grateful for the support, when you're going through all these injustice and challenges. The fact that, people are thinking about you and they support your cause and they're willing to read your content. It does make a difference. It does, because trust me, if you give up, you're handing out the keys of the world to the assholes, because they don't ask themselves too many questions. They go and take, they're gonna kill to grab the land, and yes. But I'm honestly, besides Netanyahu, I'm traumatized because I hate this guy so much, and I think I don't understand how a guy like this can still be alive after killing so many people, and he's been hiding his game behind the terrorism thing, his anti-terrorism project for so long, and he convinced so many people. And I understand we're tired of seeing the violence in the Middle East between them. It's been decades, centuries maybe. So yes, like Tony Robbins was explaining about, in their training, like they were saying, okay, this is not a good neighborhood, we're gonna just tear it down and rebuild everything amazing. It's appealing in theory, but when you see the images online of kids being killed and raped, and this is just hard to see, I understand that some people are bothering you. There's not a reason that you should kill them. So, guys, it's so hard. It's just hard to take it. It's just hard to live your life and knowing all this happening in the world. And if you're not doing anything, you're giving them all the right to impunity, and this is why I'm trying to work with Russia, because I know nobody can go against Vladimir Putin. He's walking around with his nuclear briefcase all around the world. Like, first, nobody's gonna go against that ever. So, it's already a lost cause. But then, Russia is actually a pioneer in science and medicine. Like, they're creating right now the cancer vaccines. They're making research on anti-aging. They have a great economy. Russia is one of the boss, in the BRICS alliance. So we have a lot more interest in working with Russia than in defending Ukraine. Even NATO is not making Ukraine a partner of NATO. After promising for 4 years, they're just drowning the country in debt that is gonna implode so soon. So sooner or later at least. So Trump's State Department unveils new passport design to commemorate America's 250. So today I'm not gonna go through the whole book. I just wanted to read you the extract of the conclusion and show you the plan, the table of content. So here is the final table of content. So we have 3 chapters: the success evidence, 21st century geopolitics, facts, mediation and strategies, and a kind of magic. So the success evidence is like I was explaining, everything that has worked from my first book that people have used in their designs, in their strategies, and that I'm evidences by putting in parallel. Which was the cool part about it, actually, when, for example, like Kim, I love Kim so much, Dean shared, I wrote the 10 Commandments of Business by Dean Graziosi a couple of years ago. Then Kim came up with the 10 Commandments of Business. Then I did my own 10 Commandments. It's just some evidence in the way we just talking and responding all to each other. See, this is the FBI, then the CIA. This is my peace plan. But where was it? See, things like that, where you have Starlink, encoded frequency, the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations, they're all posting like spheres, and it's kind of responding, using the R to say, I see you, I'm responding to you, we are working on that as well. It's the network. It's not just, okay, you post a circle, I post a circle, whatever. It's more than that. It's saying, I see you, I hear you, we're working on it, and organizing events, and it just ripples like this. Like this one right here that we had, I'm posting these stars, and you have the Thunderbird who are posting their own formations and stuff. Nobel Peace Prize. We're just the journalists as well. Then I'm trying to make it funny. I've been showing how, they're trying to restore trust in institutions, but in fact, nobody trusts them. So it's just funny. Yes. So yeah, it's a whole thing. Like I will let you explore it. I will do a little bit every day. So then the black sheep syndrome, how to overcome, the lack of confidence or lack of trust, or the days where you're not always enthusiastic and super motivated. The new theme 143. So this is where I present all the people who are working together on this project. Join the Avengers League. So here it's cool as well. I'm posting a few job offers from 89 and 99. Posting a few job offers here from the United Nations, Department of State, the CIA, FBI. This is how, just like Kim Kardashian's been harassing me for so many years. But she is so beautiful. Look at her. Oh my God. She makes every woman wants to be so beautiful. But for example, I was in New York City for a United Nations event. And then I posted that, which actually the newspaper was a campaign for the Secretary General. And then she came out with this Skims advertising campaign as well. So that was cool. She amplifies everything and makes it more beautiful. This was her all fairs tour. So beautiful. This is when, like, the end of everything. Love the dress. Yes, so you see, we argue. Honestly, we argue, we fight, but we're still loyal to each other. And we should see more of that. More disagreements that don't change the way we work together, and we just wish for a better future. It's okay to disagree. 21st century geopolitics, fact, mediation, and strategies. So featuring the main two operations of the Department of War, Absolute Resolve and Epic Fury. Then the Russian comeback. Then talking a bit about the environment, the Space Olympics project, and then it goes more towards the magic, the shaman, the Peruvian shamans, Pachaunai, mystics and magic, the Swedish Royal Academy. So, you know, all these conspiracy theories when they're studying the $1 bill or whatever, and they show, this is the sign of the Illuminatis, whatever, the Freemasonry. Yes, the government, they are all passionate about esoteric stuff. All of them. President Putin, Emmanuel Macron, Donald Trump, everyone, all the presidents, all this high education. Why? Because they believe in manifestation. How do you think they manifest their success? You know, they understand that the magic, the frequency, the magic of the universe, how you code your reality, how you speak into existence. And this is just one of the first thing of speaking with confidence. It's like tuning your frequency, which is the hardest thing when you feel like an imposter, when you feel like, who am I to do that? How could I do this better, you know, than someone else? Like, how am I going to be responsible for all these people? Like, but the people who become leaders are the people who say, me, I'll do it. I can do it. That's why it makes me laugh so much when Donald Trump is like, I know about, terrorism more than anyone in the world. I know about nuclear power more than anyone in the world. No one better than me can know about politics and stuff. But he's so, like, cocky, you know, but he's so funny. That's his style. But at the same time, he's speaking it into existence. And this is why then people are like, oh, well, okay, that's the man. Like, you know, and when you have people who are so confident, and sometimes, honestly, at first, like, there are people who are full of confidence, but they are also full of shit, you know, and they're like, they think they know everything, and then you realize that's confidence, but there's not much loyalty behind it, you know? Like, sometimes I felt like I was not confident enough. How was I going to do that? But then when you look at some of the politicians and, like, all the crap they're doing, you're like, oh my God, yeah, I'm qualified. I'm way qualified. Maybe I'm not going to be super confident every day, but that's also a sign of intelligence to ask yourself questions and to say, oh, well, maybe I'm not the best person to do that, but I might know someone who is, and this is how you empower a team, and you trust people and you delegate. And this is why the President Trump's government is so efficient right now, because he's surrounding himself with experts in all fields that are not especially Republicans, people who were previously Democrats or who campaigned against him, you know, all horizons, veterans, sons of immigrants, middle-class people. Vance was a previous Democrat, so or Kennedy, who campaigned against him. So he was smart on that point. And this is where you succeed also. You delegate and you have to trust people, but you also have the confidence. And yes, so a lot of magic, and I'm explaining also some of the stories in this book and the other book, the stories with alien encounters, in dreams and in real life, stories about paranormal activities, but I'll let you read the book. I'm not going to tell you everything. And then classic literature, some extracts from books, or authors that I'm presenting, or people that are, you know, modern pillars, or even humorists, actors and stuff, like Key and Peele, or U2 TV, or Cassie Dressler. Like, laugh is the best medicine. In my first book, I was talking a lot about Ellen DeGeneres. I love Ellen because when I was at the worst, everybody let me down. My mentors, I was broke. At some point, you become so numb that you just detach. You don't care about anything. You detach from your own persona, then you just don't care about anything. And then humor is what, I don't know, Ellen brightened my days so many times. She was making me laugh so much. So I love humor. I love how humor can help you appease a conflict or a situation. You're not taking yourself too seriously, but at the same time, you still can convey your message. So that's very cool. So, and then my conclusion, the perfect political program, which I think the perfect political program would be a universal income, creation of new department of the US government, which is Ministry of Sound, and collaboration over competition, circular economy, the same thing that I talk about for many, many years, but slowly but surely that we're going to make it happen. For example, the oil right now, you feel like the United States is taking monopoly of all the oil in the world. They're in Iran or Iran, in Venezuela, and you can be like, man, we're telling them that we want renewable energies, we want clean energies, but they're still working with oil. But at the same time, it's great to have the monopoly, because when it comes the day that we want to tap those up and switch to renewable energy, we have less obstacles, just like preventing Iran from having a nuclear weapon. The first step of the denuclearization plan is to prevent the proliferation of new nuclear weapons. We're not going to make the problem worse before we want to make it better. So that is the whole goal. I mean, at least for me, might think crazy, but I had all these dreams, many dreams about the end of the world, many dreams about apocalyptic scenarios or after apocalyptic scenarios, talking to little gray aliens that were actually us humans after nuclear weapons exploded and our lungs turned blue, we got asphyxiated, so our DNA got altered and our eyes started popping out, our nose started melting, and our skin started turning blue, and that the blue alien, the gray aliens that we see from the future, that you see from the movies and stuff, or that we see now, they are us from the future trying to come back to prevent us from making those same mistakes. And there are a lot of stories of aliens who came over nuclear plants to deactivate the nuclear plants. And even Marco Rubio, he was talking about it. He was saying, oh yeah, we saw a lot of UFOs flying over nuclear facilities and stuff. And in a lot of conspiracy theory books where you have testimonials about UFOs, it's a lot actually of military veterans who said that they were working in the Area 51 or in the area where they had nuclear sites, and they say all of a sudden everything turned off, and they were deactivated. And the same thing happened in Venezuela. You had some soldiers from Venezuela who said when the United States attacked us, all our radars turned off, all our weapons, everything turned off. We couldn't use anything. And then they had these machines that our nose started bleeding, our ears started bleeding. And this is just the new technology. So the things that we see from testimonials from like 50 years ago, they say they had UFOs doing that. This is just people from the future using the same technologies that are starting to appear in our reality. The gap is closing between the futuristic sci-fi scenarios and the technology we're inventing. And the other aspect of that is confidence. If someone tells you it's possible, I've seen it, we've witnessed those phenomena, we've witnessed those technologies, So we know it's possible. How do we replicate it? Okay? And this is why when I created my anti-gravity spaceship formula equation, I knew it exists because I've seen it. When I was in Bolivia, in Copacabana with my son, that was crazy. I'm gonna repeat the story, and you can go to my Instagram and go back to the first post. If you wanna go on my Instagram, moonstone_420, and you scroll down all the way to my first post, it's called Stars on Water, and this is when I was in Copacabana. So my son was on the phone trying to talk to his dad. He was on WhatsApp, and he was like, "Dad, you're here? Dad," and he wasn't responding. And for like 15 minutes, he was like, "Dad, answer, Dad, call me, answer." I didn't know he was doing that because I was packing. I was on the floor packing my suitcase. He was on the bed. "Daddy, call me, I want to talk to you. Call me, call. And all of a sudden, I stand up, he stands up. Like, we both stand up at the same time. Don't know why. We both stand up and we go to the window. Like something to control of our body. Like that was it's just the simultaneity, that we both did that. We go to the window, and as soon as we get to the window, a giant lightning, like the sky breaks open, like lightnings all over the sky, thunder and everything, just one time. And little lights, blue lights, like in the movies, the little blue vortex lights, just like that actually. Blue lights start coming down, and the whole lake starts blinking. We start seeing all those lights, and the whole lake is blinking, like lights everywhere. Like everywhere. We were in the hotel, was just in front of the hotel, and everything is blinking. And I looked in the street, there's no cars, there's no lights, there's nobody. It's just the whole lake is blinking. And I look, and these lights, they're over there moving around. And so my son was scared. I wanted to go down in the street to see them from closer, but he didn't want to go. He was scared, and I didn't want to leave him in the room by himself because we're in Bolivia. I was like, either I get electrocuted, my son is alone in the room, or someone goes and kidnap him. I'm downstairs, so there's no way I was gonna leave my son. But I was really right there. I made the video and everything. So I saw it. And after that, we go back to Florida. And one morning we wake up, and we're like, I had a dream. He says, I dreamt about a flying potion. It was like a potion and I could fly. And I was like, and I dreamt about a flying equation. Like we could write this equation and then we could make things fly. And just because we both got up at the same time, we both had this dream at the same time, we saw the phenomenon, then I was confident. I was like, they sent me the frequencies that were flying all around us. I downloaded that in my DNA. I then became a part of it. Just like when I went to all these sites in Machu Picchu, I was at the observatory where you have the magnetic stone, and I took all this magnetism. And after that, for 2 months, every time I would enter a room, I would blow things up. Like I enter, wow, just to think about it, my hands are super heated right now. And I would enter a room and light bulb would blow up, computer would blow up, like that's crazy. I would have like fireballs in my hands, crazy stuff. And every time you go to these sites, you download the frequencies inside your DNA. Then you access this knowledge. And this proven scientifically now, it's called entanglement. So essentially, every human on the planet is able to have all the knowledge in the universe. Just because we are made of these same electrons that touch and connect to each other, and they travel faster than light, actually. So if you trust yourself enough and you're able to tap into these frequencies, you're able to download some knowledge without having studied it. so many times, I would read the book before I open it. Like, I would make a video. I would be like, I'm gonna make a video about this book today that I haven't read, but I would just like open it and read an extract and stuff like that. I was doing book reviews, and I would have the book like this in my hands, and I'd be like, you go to my YouTube channel, I have like 10, 20 maybe videos like that. I'm here with my book, or I'm with my oracle. I'm like, I'm gonna pick a card today, and I have the card in my hand. I'm not looking at the card, and I'm saying, so now we're gonna visualize this, and then I show the card, and it's exactly what I'm saying, or I'm talking about a topic, and then I open the book, and it's exactly what we're talking about. See, the first thing I open, it's talking about lightning. That's crazy. See? And I was just talking about Israel as well. Like, look what they say. À chaque fois qu'un Indra meurt, un poil tombe de ce cercle sur ma poitrine. La moitié d'entre eux sont tombés. Bientôt, je n'en aurai plus. La vie est courte. Pourquoi bâtir une maison? Le garçon et le vieil homme disparurent tous les deux. Le garçon était Vishnu, le seigneur protecteur, et le vieux yogi Shiva, créateur et destructeur du monde, venu pour assister à la destruction d'Indra, qui n'était qu'un dieu historique mais qui se prenait pour l'absolu. Sur son trône, Indra se sentit totalement désabusé. Fini. Il appela le charpentier. « Je quitte ce palais, lui dit-il. Je n'ai plus besoin de vous. » Le charpentier comprit ce qu'il voulait dire. Toute construction était arrêtée. Indra résolut de partir, de se faire yogi et de méditer sur un lotus au pied de Vishnu. He's talking about a guy of destruction, a god of destruction, who thinks he's the absolute truth, absolute God, but then the person who was working with him said that he will not keep building what they started, and they stopped it. You see, that's crazy. This is really what I hope is going to happen with Israel. Is it really worth killing so many people on the blood and building all this on their blood? I don't know. It's disgusting. But anyways, guys, this was my first introduction to Celebrate. The book is written. Excited. I invite you to download it. You can use some pages. Please quote your sources. It was my honor working with you. Now this is my birthday month, so I'm gonna come online a little bit to introduce the book, and spend some time with you guys now that I don't have to be locked up in front of my computer. But also, you have to respect yourself and say at some point now I've given a lot of myself, of my life. I've tried to show the great example, and then I don't mind being connected to all these crazy things, because some people have to just take care of it. That's the deal. When you want to have a leadership position, you have to accept to have the responsibility as well, and take the risk and take the lead. So that's what I want to do. But I applied like 50 times. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of begging for a job. I'm sick of begging for my value. I'm just saying, just look at the results that we have in terms of helping the immigrants and changing the mindsets a little bit. Even Elon Musk, he has been such a help during the campaign. Even if, the Democrats didn't win, he was never trying to shut me down. He was on the opposite, asking that we show the other side of it, so we don't all turn out in a bunch of Nazis who hate immigrants because all immigrants are criminal. He was the one who encouraged, he was showing his side of, what comes up on X, all the crimes and the laxism of the Democrats. It's true. Joe Biden, he was too nice. But he encouraged as well. They wanted me to published the stories of the good people to understand why. And now they went and took action. They went and took action in Iran, in Venezuela, all this stuff. So there are results. Lots of results. So if you think you're too small to make a difference, that you don't have the leverage, honestly, I would say just contribute instead of complaining. You know, in France, they love to complain. They love to criticize the politicians. They hate the politicians. They all hate them. But I'm like, okay, so what are you going to do to make it better? You're going to go run for president next time? They're like, well, no, we get no chances, no nothing. No, I was like, okay, well then, if you're not trying to help, just stop complaining, please, because it's just annoying. I was like, I'm allowed to complain because I'm trying to go and work there and make a difference. And when I complain, usually I bring a solution right with it. And I'm not attacking anyone, except for Hitler over there. I'm not attacking everyone. I believe in collaboration. I believe that, honestly, look at also something very important I wanted to say. What is the one thing that Democrats and Republicans all have in common? All the politicians have in common. That is the same thing in all their electoral program and campaign. They all say they want to help people. I don't think you become a doctor saying, how am I going to rip people off and sell them drugs to make money and help them die? You know, nobody chooses to be a doctor with that. Then some people became corrupt because you have pharmaceutical companies who go and brush them and offer them holidays in exchange for selling their amazing medicine that is going to help everyone, and they get brainwashed, and a lot of people get misled as well. They don't know what they're doing something wrong. Some people are convinced that their medicine are really helping. I don't think no politician comes and say, oh, how are we going to screw all the people over, you know? Nobody does that. They go and they want to help people. Even I'm sure that what's going on in Israel, they thought it was a good thing. They said, oh, they're all terrorists. We got to get rid of them. It's going to solve the conflict. We're going to offer much better down the road and rebuild something golden and beautiful that in the end we won't remember those poor Palestinians that are all dead with their kids under the ground buried where we're playing golf right now. Nobody, you know, everybody gets convinced at some point that they're doing the right thing. But then we can always adjust. This is why it's important to negotiate, to communicate, to show the other side. Now with X, you see the testimonial, you see the kids being raped, burned, killed, like tortured, and it's literally Nazis like World War II being replayed in front of our eyes this time around. And I'm telling you, those who are not doing anything, it's gonna hit your karma. It's gonna be on your karma. And silence is complicity. So maybe you think you can do much, but trust me, the president of Spain first took the lead in the opposition, and Italy, when she refused to shake his hand at the New York General Assembly last year. Now China, now Russia, like it adds up. You take the first step of courage and then everybody else will follow. And then the more people start doing it and the more people are gonna do it. You think I wasn't scared when I'm posting all this stuff? And I say they can go and hurt me or my family, and I'm not even scared people hurt me or my family. But if we all shut our mouth because we're scared, this is how they win. So have to be a little courageous and tell that it's unacceptable, and everybody else will follow. So if you think you don't have leverage, that's not true. Just go and contribute instead of complaining. All right, guys, this was my little presentation for today. Now every day I'm going to do a chapter. I think for the next, well, maybe not every day because I got things to do, but I'm going to come live online more often. I hope the internet worked. I'm going to introduce all the chapters one by one and continue the conversation and all of that. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for everything and have a good day. Bye.